Welcome to Diecast Restos, where this week I'm tackling my first Tomica casting, and boy is this a good one. This is an F45 Maserati Merak SS, first released into the Foreign Tomica range in 1978. This example has been well played with, especially outdoors, as will be evidenced after I take it apart. Its hard former life has taken its toll on the bodywork, mostly underneath what is left of the paint. It should look more like this, a far healthier mint example. And this is the real car it is based on, closely related to the Bora. It shared some of its structure and body panels with its sibling, but it was powered by a 3-litre V6 in place of the Bora's 4.7-litre V8. It was also a 2+2, with seats added to the rear as a result of the smaller powertrain. You can see here just how filthy the innards are on this car. This had a direct impact on the state of the bodywork post paint strip. The Merak was so named for a star within the Great Bear constellation. It was unveiled in 1972 at the Paris Auto Show, a year after the Bora. Having designed the Bora, Giorgetto Giugiaro at Ital Design was tasked with designing the Merak. It lost the glass fastback of the Bora. Instead, it received a vertical rear window and a flat engine cover. He also added open flying buttresses. Being designed while Maserati were under Citroën ownership, the car benefited from hydro-pneumatic systems up until 1975. With what was remaining of the paint now removed, we can inspect the damage. There is light pitting across all surfaces. It's worst along the A-pillars and on the roof where a hole has opened up. So to try to recover this Tomica, I need to be very gentle and very careful with it. I opt to use my man-powered wire brush instead of my rotary attachment for the exterior. The inside was looking a bit more solid, so I use a narrow rotary attachment for this job. After Citroën sold Maserati to De Tomaso in 1975, the Citroën hydro-pneumatic systems were gradually phased out for more conventional systems. The takeover came just a few months after the Merak SS was unveiled, the model this casting is based on, but it did not go on sale until the following year. The original Merak's 3-litre V6 produced 187 horsepower, but the SS had larger carburetors fitted and received a weight reduction. The SS produced 217 horsepower. 1972 to 75 Meraks had the same dashboard as the Citroën SM, characterised by its single-spoke steering wheel and brushed metal fascia with oval inset instruments. Right-hand drive Meraks shared the same dashboard as the Bora. The Merak and SS were distinguished visually by a black grille between the pop-up headlights. A Maserati designed fascia replaced the Citroën-derived dashboard on the SS. So my first port of call in restoring the metalwork on the Merak is to coat it in Tamiya's thicker grey surface primer. This will make clear the areas I need to pay most attention to. I hoped that this would fill in most of the minor pitted areas, but it would be a long road to recovery. In response to a strict new tax on cars over 2000cc in Italy from 1977, a model called the 2000 GT was born. The engine was de-stroked and de-bored to 1999cc in order to avoid the value-added tax hike from 19% to 38%. 200 of these were made up to 1983. 1000 SS units were built up until the same point, with total production at 1830. Now I've examined the damage the bodywork has suffered, I can get to work fixing the worst of the problems, namely the hole in the roof. I'll do this with some Humbrol model filler, mixed down with liquid poly. While the Bora was discontinued in 1978 with a total production number of 564 cars built, the Merak outlasted and outproduced it, remaining on sale until 1983. There was no direct successor to either the Bora or the Merak, with the biturbo offering various body styles and engines to cover the market. Now, I don't have too much information available on the Tomica casting itself, and I don't think my Japanese is up to scratch either. But what I could work out is that the casting was introduced to Tomica's F series, the Foreign Tomica line, in March 1978 at F45. I think that it was replaced in February 1981 by the Cadillac Seville, but I may be wrong. The Foreign Tomica range was first released in Japan in April 1976 to focus on vehicles made outside of the country. The classic line had focused exclusively on the JDM. All models in the series had an F before their number, and boxes had flags of their country of origin, alongside a stylised picture of the vehicle. The series was dropped in October 1987, with many of the cars switching over to the main line. Now, after my second coat of thick grey primer, I can really start fine-tuning the body, focusing on the areas that have lighter pitting. The roof section itself is pretty much completely smooth by now, so most of my attention is paid to sharpening up the edges and sorting those pillars. By now I'm starting to have some belief that this casting will turn out okay. Earlier on, immediately after the paint strip, I was pretty downbeat, worrying that it might be perhaps too far gone. All that it now needed was a third coat of primer, and then it should be ready to paint. You can probably tell it's looking a lot better now, so on goes another high coat Ford paint, Carnival or Spanish Red. This is a really lovely shade of red that's very light but not quite orange. After the first coat, it's looking okay, but it's so much better after the second. So now we begin detailing. Since this casting has been through the mill, I didn't want to just restore it and be done with it. No, I felt it needed a few extra touches to make it stand out. So I took inspiration from the original design, giving it a black sill to each side, but I chose not to recreate the Ital design and Maserati tampos it once had. The hood grille that defined the SS from the regular Merak was drawn in, unlike the original, but the original did have a black engine bay underneath the plastic cover. But here's where everything goes a bit rogue from Tomica's original specs. I lay a base down for some tail light detailing, which also spreads to the tailpipes and rear bumper. There was no rear detailing on the original car. The door handles and a base for the side reflectors are filled in on either side. And a white base goes down for the registration plate. Originally intending to restore, I had simply chromed over the grille piece, but now I add some black edges to it with some orange for the turn signals. It really helps this piece pop. I then reinforced the moulded wipers and rear view mirror on the window piece with some Artistro black. I'm taking the detailing a little further now by highlighting all of the cast elements in chrome. As the spare wheel was mounted in the engine bay on the real car, I decided to replicate the Tomica 5-spoke design here too. Next, I lay down the red and orange on the rear light clusters, before adding some extra orange on the side lights. Then I run over the raised Merak lettering on the registration plate with some more Artistro black to really give it definition. That then receives a chrome surround. And I'll leave you in peace for a moment while all of the parts receive a brushing of Citadel Gloss Nuln Oil. With detailing complete, I lock it all in with a coating of clear. Here then are all of the parts that make up this Merak. The first piece I decided to insert was the window plastic, which fits in easily enough. I then collect my custom painted grille piece. This is a great simple design that clips in and out. A perfect design by Tomica, and it looks really effective. Next up is the interior, but this is difficult with the window in place as the engine cover needs to be threaded through the rear opening. So I have to take it out, fit the interior plastic, then lift the interior piece to slot the window back in. All rather convoluted. Once that's done, I refit the base. The post couldn't be tapped as it was a touch too narrow, but it holds together well without. So here then is my Tomica F45 Maserati Merak SS looking worse for wear. It had been played with extensively outdoors, as determined by the mounds of mud inside. That had a detrimental effect on the body, which blistered and pitted after removing the paint. It was a bit of an ordeal setting this Merak right, but the effort was well worth it. I added a few extra touches to set it apart, and this Maserati now looks like this. How's that without a transition? I'm so pleased with how it's turned out. It's nothing short of Merak-ulous. Sorry. It's a replica of the original casting, just with added detail on the hood grille, plastic grille clip, citadel defining the casting lines, side lights and door handles filled in, all the rear end detail being completed, and hidden under the engine cover a touch of extra chrome. Considering this had a hole in the roof, and pitting on every surface, I think it's looking almost good as new. I've got an unmolested blue Merak lined up next to it in the credits, and I have to say I think I now prefer this red one. Let me know which one you prefer in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this Tomica Restomod and would like to see more. Join up on Patreon or YouTube memberships to help support the channel, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. But all that leaves me to say is thanks for watching, and I'll see you again for the next one. Bye for now.